The government's just released the review into the Reserve Bank of Australia, the RBA.
The Reserve Bank is set for its biggest shake-up in decades, with the Treasurer giving his in-principle backing to 51 recommendations to reshape the body. It comes in the face of strong criticism of the RBA and specifically Governor Philip Lowe for lifting interest rates 10 times, despite signalling during the pandemic they'd stay on hold until 2024.
The RBA's got lots of roles, but its main one is setting interest rates. The interest rates we pay on mortgages, the interest rates we pay on HECS, the interest rates we pay on our credit cards are all very much affected by the decisions made by the Reserve Bank. So a review into how they do that's really important. One of the main things they've suggested is that we need to split the board of the Reserve Bank up so that there's a kind of panel of experts that can focus on this interest rate setting policy, with the broader board to kind of oversee how the RBA works. But whether it's the existing board or a new board, the reality is the way the Reserve Bank sets interest rates is really important. And if you've got a HECS debt, you've got a house debt, you've got a car debt, you've got a credit card debt, it matters a lot. And what we don't like to say out loud in Australia is that when we increase interest rates, it's really bad for people with debt. It's really good for people with lots of money. So this idea of what's fair, this idea of what should we be doing is far more political, far more democratic than a sort of technical question of what does the economy need right now. So unfortunately, while the review has got a lot of good ideas and maybe having some experts make these decisions or get better decisions than the one we've had, we're not really addressing the underlying fact that young people, particularly young people with housing, are really bearing the brunt of the Reserve Bank's desire to control inflation. In Australia, we rely very heavily on the Reserve Bank to control inflation for us, and the main lever they've got, the main hammer they've got, is interest rates. And when they increase interest rates to try and control inflation, they're putting a lot of hurt on young people with debt, and they're stuffing a lot of money into the pockets of older people who've got money in the bank or in super. It's time we had an honest conversation about what the best way to control inflation is. And to be clear, there's lots of other ways we can control inflation. During COVID, they made childcare free. Guess what? That lowered inflation. The previous government jacked up the price of university fees. That increased inflation. Whether it's the price of childcare, the price of uni, the price of medicine, the price of going to the doctors, there's lots of prices that governments are directly in control of. And if we were to collect more tax from the fossil fuel industry and spend some of that money making the prices for things that we pay lower, well, we could lower inflation and we could do it in a way that helps low-income earners, that helps young people, rather than just relying on interest rates.